Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Back to School Night at Cardinal O'Hara. My name is Miss McDermott, and I teach Honors ELA 2, Journalism, and Ancient Literature in the Chesterton Scholars Program. So this evening, I'm just going to be introducing you to each of my classes for the year and kind of what is expected um, of each student within the class and all of the different policies and rules regarding grading, um, technology, and just general class expectations. So the first few slides I'm going to dive into first are just an umbrella view of all three of my classes. So the same general rules apply to each. Towards the end of the slides, you'll see individualized information for each class. So it'll go Honors ELA first, then into journalism, and then last there's ancient literature for the Chesterton program for the freshmen. So you're more than welcome to fast forward any of this that does not apply to your son or daughter. Let's see. So I'm going to get rid of my webcam right before I go into these slides, if I can. Okay, I don't know if I can actually do that. So I'll just leave it up there as I go through. I'm not going to read out every slide. I'll just kind of pause. And then if you want to pause the screen further and read what I have up there, you may do so. Okay, so welcome to Miss McDermott's classroom. It's room 238 in the building. So if you ever are in the school, you know where to find me. So this little note I have at the front of my syllabus for each class. Right, so the path to success in all of my courses involves your child's commitment to being present during each class period, along with genuine efforts in practicing self-discipline and reflective work. So my hope for students is to not only have them be successful in terms of a good grade, but for them to enjoy the stories and ideas we read and discuss throughout the year. Above all, the ultimate goal is for students to leave O'Hara as lifelong readers, critical thinkers, and motivated learners. Okay, so no need for me to read through this. This is displayed on each syllabus. So just general expectations for all classes, all students. If you want to pause through that, you can. Okay, so I do want to say a few things about the online platforms and how I communicate with students regarding both grades and course materials. So PowerSchool and Schoology are the two big ones here at O'Hara. I use both to share information, but each kind of disseminates information in a different way. So PowerSchool number one is where all of my official grades for the course are posted. So whether that be a test grade, an essay grade, a quiz grade, that's where the definitive grade will go. Schoology does offer a grading component. I will use that if I create a quiz on there or I'm just checking in with a discussion board. But anything on Schoology is not definitive. So I review everything first on Schoology and put everything onto PowerSchool definitively. So that is your go-to for grades. Schoology is just where I'm going to post daily class materials, readings, supplemental things for the novels that we study, and different assignment directions and rubrics as well. So just make sure your child's checking these daily in order to keep a clear line of communication in terms of student teacher and then teacher parent as well. So you might want to check in with your students' Schoology and PowerSchool. Right, all of my syllabi are posted on both of those platforms, right, with detailed information about everything. A little screenshot of Schoology, right? So sophomore students are familiar, seniors and juniors are obviously familiar as well. So our freshmen, once they get their laptops, might need some orientation, which I will definitely be doing in the classroom, at least for ELA and literature. Okay, so how do I grade for each course? So students are assessed each quarter on a variety of different assignments. So I offer multiple opportunities for different sorts of assignments, and then using an accumulated straight point-based scale. So all points for all of my grades. Help. If your child's struggling with material or you have any concerns, please reach out. I am more than happy to help and to spend time with a student if they need it, if they're worried, if they're stressed. Email is the best way to reach me. I'm often at school till at least 3 every day. So if anyone needs the help, I am available. Okay, so I'm going to start diving into each individual course here. So to begin, honors ELA 2, so that's the sophomore. So if your son or daughter is a sophomore in the English, in the honors English, then you can stick around for the next few slides. If not, you can fast forward for journalism and ancient lit. Okay, so ELA 2, obviously a required course for 10th grade students, right? And we're just continuing from freshman year. So we'll respond and read to various genre selections, right? Both from foundational classical works of literature and then more contemporary literature. So that includes full-length novels. I like to aim for at least 2 novels a quarter. So that all depends on how restricted our schedule is during certain quarters and whatnot. So I don't tend to choose huge novels. To be very easy to get through in a matter of weeks. And then we do study at least one Shakespeare play every year at O'Hara, and then the sophomore Shakespeare will be Julius Caesar. Okay, so the next few slides, I'm not even gonna stop and talk at them. So you can pause some of these and just read through it. So it's just more detailed explanation of the course, just the nuances of what will go on throughout the year. And this is all explicitly stated on the syllabus. Okay, and then a big focus obviously is, the PSATs the sophomores take this year in October, right? So it's that kind of building up the momentum to the SATs and obviously and beyond into college, right? So we do practice SAT prep. Grammar is obviously incorporated throughout, as well as vocabulary refinement. Then a big part of ELA 2 is the writing assignments. So archdiocesan students all have their own writing portfolio. So this is kept throughout each year of study in their English classes. In ELA 2, so they'll have to write at least 4 different types of essays. So we like to cover narrative, informative, argument, and then the MLA research paper at the end of the year. Right? And that'll change a little bit as they go on into junior and senior year. Okay, so some course requirements, right? The most the best way to be successful in this course is just for students to be prepared to read. Be prepared to read the selected pieces of literature and be prepared to discuss, right? That is my biggest stressor that I like to get into students at the beginning of the year. And then homework is not something I assign every night. So the expectation is that they're doing the reading. We do a lot of reading in class together, but there is the expectation that when the homework does come, because it will come up eventually, especially when we're in the middle of a writing assignment, that it will be complete. And then obviously they're keeping up with their studying if there's a quiz or a test. All right, and this is just a little sample of authors and readings covered in junior year. Right, so we select the novels based upon the units in the Houghton Mifflin textbook that we just started using 2 years ago at this school. Right, so most of these are thematic pairings to some of the units in the textbook. Right, so we may or may not get through them all. We may be able to add one more. It just depends. Right, the nature of the literature classroom is a lot different than other subjects. Okay, so that's it for Honors ELA 2. So real quick, Honors Journalism. It's a full year elective course designed for upperclassmen students. So it's any student interested in getting into journalism, media, or communication of any kind in college. It's also open to any student who just wants to become a better writer, communicator, or just a thinker in general. Right, so I'm not going to go through all of these because they're listed on the syllabus. So it's just the different topics and units we delve into and then develop throughout the year. Right, one thing I want to point out is the ethical responsibilities related to journalism. I spend a lot of time on that. Students get to put their skills into practice with the two ethics units I do, especially in application to using technology. Right, so they'll do different things like conducting interviews with various people within the O'Hara community, researching and writing articles, and even designing their own publications throughout the year. Okay, and that leaves me with, so that should be CSP, so we've changed it to the Chesterton Scholars Program, Ancient Literature. So I apologize for the typo. Okay, so this is our freshman year in the Chesterton program. So here's just a little course description. You can read through the whole thing in your own time if you want to pause it, but the topics under discussion for freshman year are the beginnings of Western literature, Western culture. So we introduce students to those perennial universal questions of the human condition, and we use Homer and Virgil and other Greek dramatists to help us do that. Right, so all these different things like honor and virtue and what is happiness and anger, right? So we're always discussing, right, those human things in the class. Socratic method is the primary form um, of the class session. So most classes will be reading together, reading and discussing. Then obviously writing is incorporated into that with the IEW program, the Institute for Excellence in Writing. Okay, so why do we teach these early works of ancient civilization? So ancient literature forms the foundation for the entire Western literary and intellectual tradition. Right, so it continues on up into our own day. It provides much of the essential framework for making sense of people, events, movements throughout history and centuries. Right, so the theme of freshman year, it's not just ancient civilization, right? We introduce this concept of anticipation or longing within the human heart, right? So the focus, right, is always incarnational, and this universal longing for Christ in the pagan literature, right, as well as in our own hearts, right? This anticipation, this longing. So we kind of build up throughout the ancient world, each story that we read, right? And then sophomore year, they're into the midst of Christendom. Okay, key themes. So things like University of Longing, that's anticipation, right? True nature of sacrifice, that's a big one. Family, the harmonious family, the reality of anger and how to deal with it. The epic tradition, hospitality. So how did the Greeks treat that concept of hospitality? And then heroism is obviously one of the big ones with these epics. Okay, so here is the trajectory of what we study. Right now, Antigone may be replaced here, depending on how the Iliad goes. So, right, the Aristeia trilogy may or may not happen. So it may be replaced with Antigone. We begin the year with mythology, so I should have put that up there, by Edith Hamilton, right, which sets us up for Homer. And then we end the year with the Chesterton capstone, which will be Common Sense 101. Right. One significant component of the course is memorization. So memorization is stressed throughout the year, and then the different books that we read. Most of the excerpts that students will get to memorize will come from the text. So with the Iliad and the Odyssey and the Aeneid, right, it's those famous invocation to the muses. So the beginning of the epics usually have, right, beautiful verse at the beginning that the students can memorize. And then poetry would also be integrated throughout for that as well. Okay, that's about it for the 3 courses. Obviously, if you need more details about each course, you can always get in contact with me, or you could look on my syllabus where there is more detailed points and explanations of things. So, thank you for your time tonight, and I look forward to working with you and your child throughout the school year.